light technology must have changed a lot recently, evolved a lot
Yes,
recently.
it has.
Has it changed your work?
It has. Well, when I was young, I thought, I was in Los Angeles. Yes, the Houston controlled the space flights, and they shot them off out of Cape Canaveral, Florida. But everything was made in L.A. That's where it all came from. A little bit from Seattle with Boeing, but almost all of it was made in Los Angeles. So that time was a very heady time, and I thought we were going to have much more control over light, that we would be involved in light. So I had this great optimism, and it didn't really happen until toward the end of my life. And so it's come just in time, I guess. But it's really been helpful a lot to have LED technology and computer control. That's really has made all this, many things in this show possible. But I did it without that before, and sometimes clumsily and sort of a deus ex machina, where I had the variacs that are rheostats that are motor controlled, and mixing 3 or 4 colors of light made by either neon tubing or filters. And this was quite cumbersome and limited how I could put light into a space. So now, you can just put a small band of light and direct it up, and it's quite amazing what's happened. So I have had the privilege to live in this time when this technology did come along. But we're in an infancy. I mean, we're going to build with light. So this is something that is about to take place and happen. And, if there was a huge change going from Giotto to Canaletto in terms of depiction of space in 2 dimensions. And I'm sort of on the Giotto end of, light is just beginning, and I'm one of the pioneers, but it's going to be taken and people are going to run with this now. So that's an exciting thing to prophesy and to say that will happen, but it's happening.
You mentioned that it's been good working here because you can create works on the kind of scale that you like to.
Yeah.
Do you feel that with light in colour that it's the best way to experience the phenomenon through large scale?
There are 2 things. It is still human scale, so it's not over the top. But I do like this quality of being bathed in the light, of entering the light. I like that to be possible. And the big thing is, for me, because this gets back to your question about flying, is that there are many things that happen in the atmosphere that are quite amazing. Of course, the northern lights that you have more access to see than many people on this earth. Also, there are meteorological conditions in flight. It's just a contrail sometimes, and you can have a very strong sun that makes this shadow go down to the earth, and it makes this plane between. It's very beautiful. These are things that happen in large scale. And I like to have enough scale so that you see the light as being almost solid or physical, but then as you approach it, it can kind of dissolve and become almost ephemeral again. So you have the dichotomy of seeing it both as we normally see it, which is rather ephemeral, and also to see it in the physicality that it can exhibit. So that takes a little bit of scale or size. And I think that's been the most difficult thing for me working with in my life, and also in getting shows and doing things, because the bigger space you have to prepare, the more expensive it is, the more time it takes out of a museum's time of showing work. So that's been one thing I've had to deal with over the years. But situations like this are wonderful for me. In France, I did the piece where heavy water, where you swim underwater and come up inside the piece. That's not something that the Pompidou wanted to do, but I did that at a place where out in Poitiers, where it made for rock and roll, and they wanted to do that. So I could take the roof off, make a sky space, make a 20 meter by 20 meter swimming pool, and you could enter by going underwater. so places like this, and also in the U.S., alternative, what used to be called alternative spaces, are the ones where much of this work was put forward. So that's why I honor places like this that are willing to do this.
What is your next thing to investigate?
Oh, let's see. Well, each of these works generate more down the road. For the one like Bendu Shards, we're working on one that's EEG controlled, so that it's actually reading you when you say experience the color in the theta state, and then when you think that color, the color will appear, so that you'll be able to control what happens by how you think. So that's where that would go. The ones of the, let's see, sky spaces, I want to do one that actually can work with northern lights. I would like to do in the wedge work ones, I want to do, well, I used to have ones that you walked through, but then people fell down in some of them, and so I stopped doing those in the United States, because in the United States they then sue you. So I want to do these ones where I cross planes and actually make zones that you enter where the architecture is an architecture of space made only with light. So that's where I would want to go with things like that. And for the large Gansfold ones, I want ones like that, but then that you walk into the next space, so that you enter that next, which those are some of the things that I think about. And then I want to do dark spaces, and those are my favorite spaces, that are just like it is when you enter meditation, except you're doing it with the eyes open. And you're taking the conscious awake state into this state more nearer to an alpha state. So there you have my program. And then I want to do things like Rodent Crater, which are places to come to on the Earth, special places. But I'm also doing that with the sky spaces, kind of where I put them around the world, and think of that as kind of one large piece that is continually being experienced or open to vision. And I'm making a pyramid in Yucatan, down near Merida. So that was something I wanted to do, but
Pyramid?
yes, and those are kinds of you know, we're all blessed to have these opportunities right now to be living at this time, and we ought to try to do something with that. So I have more work to do than I think I can get done, but going at it hard, and boy, they went at it hard here to work to realize all these pieces here. So I'm very, very pleased by that and thankful.